Hello, my name is Stephanie Toman. This is another video with regard to the ICDL Advanced Presentation Software qualification, and it's using PowerPoint to demonstrate. You could look at this if you like, or use this if you're doing the qualification as it's part of the syllabus, or you might just use it to have a look and see what you can find and if it's helpful to you in the day-to-day study or home or work. This area is really good fun. It's interesting, the amount of things you can do with a drawing object, or drawn objects as they sometimes call them. It's quite amazing. So have a go, try some of these areas like the rotate and flips, good feature, manipulating the objects with lots of different things like shadowing and glow, beveling. They can really make a difference to the objects that you use to demonstrate things within your PowerPoint presentation, other than just, expected animated images, etc. So hopefully you enjoyed this. As I said, it's part of the syllabus for the Advanced ICDL Qualification Presentation Software, but you could also use it just to learn if that's what you'd like to do. I hope you enjoy it. And we're going to concentrate quite a lot on drawing shapes and all of the different features that you can use in order to change them and manipulate them, and things you can bring in, inserting things, etc., resizing and all of that. So if we look at the first activity slide, drawing objects, it wants us to open a blank PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just going to minimize that over here so we can still see what we need to do, and I'll do the same for this. Okay, so we've got to so we've got a new slide, so let's put in a new slide because we don't really want it on a, so we can put it on a, just insert a new slide with a to content slide. It wants us to draw a rectangle object. Insert into your shapes, drop down here, there's your rectangle. Click on that and drag it out. In order to see sizes, etc., I'm just going to bring it out because it wants 15 by 5. Okay, so here's our shape. The Format tab will give us our sizes. The View tab will allow us to keep the ruler on. So the ruler might help. Some people use it, some people don't. It's up to you. The Format tab will give us our sizes. So it's 5 in height and 15 in width. So that's done that. And then to do anything to that shape, we would right click and we would format shape, and that can bring up a lot of these areas here. So we've got our fill and our line. We have our effects. So if I hover back, hover over it, you've got effects. That one's your fill and line. That's your effects. Come back again, and this is your size and properties. Within each of these, we have shadows, we have presets, and we have, when we've done set something at a preset, we've got different colors, transparency, blur, angle, distance, etc. And each of these drop downs all have their own areas, preset areas, and other things. So there's the reflection area, close that, the glow, different ones on different things. So you'll be guided in your exam to use particular things. Let's close those. We've got soft edges presets. We've got 3D format. The 3D format, always think about it as the place where you'd find everything that you can't find in the others. So it's the odd things like lightning, material, contour, bevels, all those sorts of things that you don't find in the other ones. They're not obvious. And then you've got the 3D rotation, which is how we can manipulate rotation-wise and add text to things and keep text flat, even if the object's at an angle. So we can apply all of these things to a simple shape. And all of the stuff I've just looked at here, a lot of it is up here too. But the real detail is in the format shape area. There's also a text option where you can find these options with the text and the shadow text, reflection, glow, etc. all on those, and text box. But we're going back to shape options. Okay, so we're going to do the next slide. If I just bring this down, we've got back to our next one. And here it's looking at how we can use gradients within text, and in this case, shapes. So I'm going to start using our view and switch windows between those. And so we can do these things. So gradients, if you right click and go to a fill, drop down there, you can get to a gradient there. You can see light variations and dark variations. And if you hover on them, they will do different angles. And on here, you've got the same. So you may be asked to apply a variation. If you look at the things that you can do with regard to gradients, you've got different gradients that are just preset. If you do that, you can have different types of that. Then you can have different directions of that. So there's so much going on. You can change these gradient stops in colour. So you could have a different blue there, and you can make that last one a white. You can add stops, and you can remove stops by dragging them away. So all of that is going on. You've got transparency as well and brightness, and they're all affecting that gradient when you're on there. So all of those different features that you've got there, and if you scroll down, they've got some things for lines too. Okay, so this is opening up a whole area, I think, in PowerPoint that a lot of us don't use. And it's all of the things that you can do and manipulate and shapes. Okay, you've also got texture. So if we go back to fill at the top, you've got this one. And remember, texture you might have seen in another ones we've used. You can change texture. You have patterns there. So you can use those. So lots going on with regard to that fill. So let's look at the other areas. A quick look at line. There's not really a lot going on with line. You can have a dash. You could thicken that point so you can see it more. You could build the transparency of it. So they're pretty much just straightforward. Okay, and then you could change it to black, and it's good for defining things. Let's, however, look at some of the other options. So we've got our shadow, and we can see there are presets on the shadow. So we could have an outer and apply that. Or we could have that low transparency, so you can see it more. You can make it bigger, as you can see there, quite a big difference. You could blur it, and etc. And then we've got things like reflection. So if we had a reflection, we could reflect it again. Let's do one of these, and you can see that it's quite a big reflection. And if you hover on that reflection, I'm just going to close shadows down, you can see what those reflections are. So in the exam, they will be expecting you to find these different options within the format shape area task pane, and to apply them to different things accordingly. Other things you've got, it's obviously size as well on that reflection. And then it comes down, if we just, there's your distance of reflection, your blur, your size on it, etc. So let's close that. Then you've got soft edges. So you could have 2 points. It's not a lot, but it gives it a little bit of a change. And then you've got 3D format area. So you've got bevels. Okay, you've got things like angle, soft round. On the other bevel, the bottom bevel, you've got the angle again there, slope, cool, rivet, circle, etc. Convex is a common one. These tend to be seen better with images, but with graphics, but they're still worth using. And then we've got things like lightning, and you've got asking for warm, a lightning with a warm sunset, a lightning with a cool freezing. So you've got those things that you could be adding as well. And then with the rotation, you've got you can be asked to up the X rotation. Oh, I need to click on the object first. Bear with me. Back into effects. I was on the text at that minute then. So you've got to make sure that you're actually highlighting the right thing. You should see it go round. And you can rotate it on the Y-axis and on the Z. You could bring it round more. And then you could add text to it, and you could keep that text flat so that when it goes on its rotation it's still available. So there's an awful lot going on. You click on it, back on it, off it, just get fill, on it, get the effects again. So get to know these, get an idea of what is where, and always remember the 3D format is the one where you'll find the odd strange ones that you can't think of where they'd be. Then you've got the position, size and position. And the other thing that's popped in here is called alt text. So the alt text is where you can type in the title of a graphic and a description of a graphic, and then a screen reader would read that for somebody that was visually impaired. So that's always there as a feature too. So you could include those depending on your audience. Size is to do with, as we know, we've already done that size, but we can do more rotation, scale width, and lock ratio. That means that if it's locked, it has to be a certain size. Otherwise it won't just go and do any size you wish. Positioning, this is quite important when we come in to do these a bit later. You're always going to be doing it from a horizontal or vertical position, and it's going to be an option top left corner or an option there top left corner or center. And other ones give a top right corner. So if we change it, you can see how it changes on the grid. If we right click on the grid while we think about it, you get the grids and guides. So if you just click on there, they come up. You can have display grid, you can display drawing guides on the grid, and you can have smart guides to make sure they're aligned, and you can snap them to the grid as well. And snapping them to grid, if you've got I don't know, 2 per grid, more, and then you can see how you can snap them to the nearest. Snap off. And then you can sort of line them up as you know you want them with regard to fitting in with your theme. So all of those things are there. Be aware of them. And when they ask you, there's your text box. So if you've got a text box, etc., and you want to do things too, text boxes are always a bit of a pain, but at least you've got some control over these ones. But it's unlikely to come up in the test, really. Okay, it's not mentioned in the syllabus. So that's like just a bit of a brief introduction to all of these areas that we're going to be using. And you can see on this one, we've highlighted, we've got a triangle. And let's have a go at actually doing this to this triangle then, just so that we can get a feel for it. So going at my previous wonderful presentation, let's bring it over. So I'm going to bring in a new slide, and I'm going to draw a triangle. This triangle is about size-wise 8.5 by 12. So insert, shapes. There's my triangle. That'll do, I suppose. Just bring it over. Okay. Right, so we're going to apply some things to this. So right click, might actually put it over there. Right click, format shape, and then our thing comes up. So it wants us to apply blue 11 point glow accent color 5. So we're going to go into our effects. We're going into glow, and we've got some presets, and we need 11 point glow accent color 5. So 11 point glow. 11. Ah, there's 11 point glow. So the blue is because the triangle is blue. So 11 point glow, accent 1 colour. There it is. 11 point glow, accent colour 5. That's that one. And then a bottom convex bevel. So we need to go to, do you remember the strange ones are always in here. So it's a bottom bevel, this one, and it's convex. That convex one, that one. There it is. So we'll use that one. Then we want a half reflection 4-point offset. So close that. So reflection presets, half reflection, 4-point offset. Let's try that one. So that's a full reflection. There it is, half reflection, 4-point offset. So it's about finding those particulars, isn't it? It wants an inner diagonal top left shadow effect. So preset, inner, is our inners, inner diagonal top left. Oh, straight away, that's that one. And then the next rotation of 45. So we need to get into the rotation one, drop that down, X rotation of 45. Add your name, blah, 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 and ensure it stays flat. There's our keep flat option there. And then add a lightning cool freezing effect, the final one. Remember, the one that we're never sure where we find it, 3D format, got a feeling it's in there. And there's the lightning ones. And it's a lightning cool freezing effect. Oh, it's that one. That's why we didn't find it. There's the lightning, there's the chilly, there's the freezing effect. Okay, so it just goes to show, I know we've done an awful lot to one object. This is the idea that you need to know where you're going, what you're finding, because remember your time is running out as you're clicking around and searching for things. Now, you can click around and search for things in the exam, but it is time that's against you. And as long as you don't click on answer before you're finished, you can click around and search for things. You are human and you're not going to get absolutely everything perfectly right. So we're going to look at the next one now on this slide. Easy to do that. So we're going to look at some, I'm going to just minimize this out the way for a moment and we'll open this one up. So looking at rotating and flipping objects. So what you've got is you've got in your format tab, so if you click on something like a picture, and in your format tab becomes available, and then you've got some arranging objects, aligning, line to slide should be on, rotating, and grouping or ungrouping. So it's how we arrange objects. So grouping and ungrouping, the first one, if we right click on this and go to, if you can't find it, try it again, right click there, there's your group. If you can't find it on a right click, select your one shape and go up to the format tab and you will find the group there. So we're going to ungroup through the group, ungroup, and then the objects become separate. Okay, and then what we could do is we could select them with the shift and we could group them again in that way. So that becomes one object. And the beauty of it is that you can create diagrams, flowcharts, things like that, and then you realise that you need to take them somewhere else as well. So it's always good to group them before you shift them about, cutting and pasting or etc., and then ungroup to work on them individually. You've also got, if we ungroup that again, make sure I'm right on the top, there we go. And then what you can do is you can do things to individual objects. So I can pull I need to get that arrow on its own, there it is. And you can see how we're going to do this rotate feature. So we're on format, and you're expected to use a proper rotate feature rather than just grabbing it as you would normally do. I can get the handle on it, there it is. Normally people just do that in the real world, but unfortunately you're in an exam, and when you want things to snap to the grid and be perfectly aligned, then rotating is the best way. And you can get more options by making it straighter, etc., because then you get the beauty of it being perfectly. And these grid lines really help with regard to shape. When it comes to alignment, you have left, centre, right. You can try them out if you want. It'll be according to the slide. Middle goes up towards the middle. Distribute horizontally, it already is by the looks of it, or distribute vertically, so it's bang in the middle. If it was, move it away a little bit there. Let's do that one, and let's align distribute horizontally, you can see, or distribute vertically up there. Okay, so those features need to be used within the exam. And when you click on an object, any object, these tools become available, particularly format. That's where you'll find everything. Click it off, it won't. Remember that if you go into the shapes, insert shapes, you don't have a circle and you don't have a square. So a rectangle with a shift becomes a square when you drag it out, and a circle, if we go back into shapes, there's an oval there, grab an oval, press shift,